The first time I heard about Dave Ramsey was probably about 20 years ago on the radio, and I was shocked and excited about what I heard.
There's a thing that you and I are dealing with in your money, and it's called math. And where people get themselves in trouble, including when I went broke many years ago because I was stupid, we get ourselves in trouble when we don't bother and do the math before we do the transaction.
He was saying things that I'd never heard before.
One definition of maturity is learning to delay pleasure. You pay a price to win. Means you're grown up.
Credit cards are dumb, whole life insurance is a ripoff, have an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses, invest 15% of your income for retirement.
So baby step one, save $1,000 for your starter emergency fund.
So of course I immediately bought every single book of his that I possibly could. The first book I picked up was The Total Money Makeover, and that set the groundwork for how to think differently. I moved on to Financial Peace Revisited, More Than Enough, and listened to more episodes of the Dave Ramsey Show than I could count. I had every Daveism memorized. Things like God's and Grandma's ways of handling money, save more, live on less than you make.
It's the stuff Grandma talked about. So save money, live on less than you make. Two concepts Congress can't grasp. And then we talk about getting out of debt, the borrower's servant to the lender. And so lay down a plan, have a budget, spend every dollar on paper before the month begins. Because it's more behavior than it is math. Don't spend money you don't have.
Essentially, I was hooked in the Dave Ramsey cult. But over time, I did my own research and I found out about these wonderful opportunities, such as credit card reward points, where as long as you're fiscally responsible, you can get thousands of dollars back from just using your credit cards just on the rewards points. Investing in index funds and cutting out the expensive financial advisor that Dave was such a huge fan of, recommending people continue investing in their 401k while paying off their debt at least for the match. Because again, that was thousands of dollars in free money that was just being left on the table. I heard about the FIRE movement, Financial Independence Retire Early, which encourages people to not only get out of debt, but invest like crazy and retire early if you so choose. And I started to hear dissenting voices to the concepts that I had initially learned through Dave Ramsey. And I started to get upset. Why wasn't Dave Ramsey telling people about the opportunities that were offered, for example, with credit cards, assuming they're able to keep their spending under control? I mean, there were thousands of dollars that they could make off of opportunities just like this. Why was he pushing financial advisors that cost a ton of money to use and ignoring the fact that a basic S&P 500 index fund would be enough for a majority of people to invest in? Why was he failing to acknowledge that smart people could use debt as a tool to do amazing things in their lives? And the reality is, I grew to despise Dave Ramsey. I didn't understand why he was so strongly recommending products that he directly benefited from, things that people could improve their own lives upon. He was just not telling people about these options. So I stopped listening to him. I stopped recommending other people take his advice, and over the years, I just kind of fell off the Dave Ramsey bandwagon. And as the years passed, I was able to see success in my finances. I saw massive growth in my retirement accounts through the index funds that I was investing in. I was living debt-free, and I was happy with how my financial choices were paying off. But as I tried telling people to make good decisions about their own money, I found that it just wasn't getting through. No matter how many times I would tell somebody to invest monthly in a Roth IRA, to put that money in an index fund, how bad debt really was and paying it off was the smartest financial decision that they could do, or not buy an expensive car laden with monthly payments, I got mostly stares back. And that's when I realized that sure, credit cards are a great way to make thousands of dollars a year with the rewards points, assuming that you do it right. But most people use credit cards, go into debt, and just never pay those credit cards off, which makes that trade absolutely horrendous. Most people, when given the option of investing for retirement in an index fund on their own, just won't do it. Most people live in their debt year after year after year and never make any meaningful effort into paying it off. And as I realized that this was the case with a majority of people, I understood. I understood why Dave says to avoid credit cards no matter what, because many people can't handle them. And the moment he says credit cards can be an asset to those who can pay them off every month, thousands will hear that, if not millions of people who shouldn't be using credit cards will start using them. I understood why Dave says to focus so completely and thoroughly in paying off debt that you should even ignore your 401k match to get it done, because focus is a powerful thing. And without that focus, most people will never actually end up paying off their debt. I understood why Dave says to use a financial advisor, as expensive as it is, because most people are too paralyzed to save for retirement. And if Dave recommended that people invest in index funds on their own, many people would never save anything for retirement without that professional guiding them. In the end, Dave stands firm on what he says. Because for millions of people who can't or won't make the right financial decisions, Dave's advice is exactly what they need, no matter how much I or we may disagree with it.